All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Wellness for Life podcast. In this podcast, I share the stories of everyday people like you and me who were able to transform their health just by changing their lifestyle habits. And so today, I have a very special guest with me, a friend of mine. His name is Lou, and I'm gonna allow him to tell you guys just a little bit about himself before we dive into all the things. So, Lou, tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, I'm a young. I can't say young anymore. I guess I'm a middle-aged black man, about 47, about 47 years old.
Okay.
Uh, from Massachusetts. Family's from Bermuda, so we attended Atlantic Union College together.
That we
Um,
did.
yeah, I graduated some 20, something years ago.
Yep.
Have a degree in social work, bachelor's of science in social work, and I currently work in the mental health field as we speak. And I just finished work as I'm speaking to you now. I'm actually sitting outside of Newton Wellesley Hospital here in Newton, Massachusetts. I just saw a client who was struggling with some mental health stuff. So yeah, so I'm currently in the field that I went to school for, and yeah,
Nice.
that's kind of what I'm up to. Married, been married 15 years as of the 22nd of June. So there you go as well too.
That's awesome. Well, thank
Yeah,
you
yeah.
for sharing.
Oh, no
And thank
problem.
you for what you're doing. I know like mental health issues are on the rise, and so
Yes,
it's
yes,
good that we have counselors and therapists from different backgrounds who are able to help the diverse individuals who are coming in for help. So thank
yes,
you for that as well.
absolutely.
So let's get into it. So tell
Sure.
me um, caused you, or what happened that allowed you to that made you start on this health and
Well,
wellness journey?
so I've always been an athletic kind of guy. I'm a good sized kid. Growing up and even through high school and the first little bit of college. So I was very athletic. And, used to work out all the time, play sports all the time. So, as a good solid kid, my weight, I kept my weight in check a little bit. But I think as I got through the end of college and then started working more and getting out into the field in the last 20, especially the last 16, 17 years, I kind of let myself go and started to put on a lot of weight. Um, I think I got up to as high as 492 pounds. Whoa, a lot, you know what I'm saying? And it started impacting on everything. It started impacting on my marriage, started impacting, on love life, started impacting on spiritual matters, started impacts on your career, you know what I'm saying? Everything. It impacts on a lot of things, the extra weight and whatnot. So, and obviously I had a lot of health issues, started having some health issues, some issues with my heart that I had never had before. Um, I do have an autoimmune disease, sarcoidosis, so the added weight was exasperating that stuff, and so there was symptoms that I was experiencing, made it hard to breathe, walk, I'm carrying all this weight and I'm, moving all this weight around and just is a struggle and it just impacts everything and impacts your outlook in life, your happiness, all that stuff. And so, you got to make some changes. I had to have a conversation with self. You got to make, hey man, you got to make some changes. But I think what really happened is my pulmonologist, Dr. Khan at the time, really had like a heart to heart with me, and he said, hey, listen, I think one of the things that would help you is to have gastric sleeve, okay, surgery. Which I thought was, I don't want to do that. I'm raised Seventh Day Adventist Christian. I know what to eat and what not to do. Blah 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 blah. I know what to do. You know what I'm saying? We know. We got the health message, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But he said, yeah. So he said, this would kind of help jumpstart
Yeah.
you and help you. And I'm sure a lot of the health issues that you're having currently right now with your breathing and everything and the medications you got to keep taking, it will go away. And he was correct. And so I opted, like I said, to have the gastric sleeve, not the bypass, you know what I'm saying, because that's too invasive, um, or intensive, I should say. And so I did that back on August 9th, 2022. So it'll be coming up on a year in August 9th. So maybe, another month or so away,
Nice.
right?
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, so I've definitely, and so I lost weight prior to the surgery, and then I've lost almost 200 pounds, 186 pounds since surgery. So I'm
Wow.
trying
That's
to, yeah, 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 yeah.
good.
So I had to make those changes. You know what I'm saying? So I feel better. My outlook on life is better. It's impacting It's impacted positively on my life, my spiritual life and all that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
do my work better now. So yeah, that's kind of the journey. But sometimes you have to grab the bull by the horn, so to speak, and make a decision. Sometimes people have a hard time making a decision, but like I said, through the encouragement of my pulmonologist, my primary care, but basically my pulmonologist, who thought it would be a good idea, I was able to pull the trigger, and here I am. So, I don't know, man. Could have been checked out. I was carrying a lot of weight, and it's impacting on my heart. So if I didn't make some changes, I don't know. Might not make 50. So, but now I have a
Mm.
different outlook on life, and here we are. Hope I didn't
Amen.
talk too much. Yeah, 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 yeah,
No, you're not talking too much at all. You're sharing your story. So,
yeah.
a few things though, like, so were there things that, what were some of the things that you were doing that allowed you to get to that point? Like that, you said that you kind of like let go, so, kind of like let go a little bit. So, what some of the things were you just like
So
not eating, was
yeah,
not working out? Like, what was it?
yeah.
Sleeping?
It's
What was
just
it?
yeah. So it would be simple stuff like you come home, you don't eat a healthy meal. You eat the food on the street food as we call it. You're not
Yeah.
working. Yeah, you're not working out like you used to, and then so you're consuming all these calories, and then it's you start packing on the weight. You know what I'm saying? And then you're like, oh, I'll take care of it later. I'll take care of it later. I'll do it later. Like, oh, it's not too bad. Then your weight just starts inching up little by little by little by little, and then before you know it's you get overrun. But that was I think what I was eating when I was eating it, and the fact
Mm.
that I was not as active as I was when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Probably in my 20s, early 30s. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't as active, but I was consuming all these calories, and the type of stuff that I was eating was not healthy. A lot of, I like salt, a lot of fatty food, a lot of fast food. You know what I'm saying? Not so much, a lot of carbs and stuff like that. So a lot of stuff that, doctors and you're in the medical profession, all the stuff they tell us to stay away from or reduce. I was eating a lot of that stuff and not exercising and burning it
Right.
off and stuff like that. And then the years just keep adding up, and you start packing on weight left and right. So
Right. Right.
so that's basically what happened. You get lazy, or maybe some people don't like that word, but that's what happened. You get lazy, or you get complacent. How about that? And you
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
you take your health for granted, and then as you start getting into especially from like me, you start getting into your 40s, you start to feel those things. Whereas I probably ate the same way, did the same things when I was younger, when I was like, 17, 18, 19, 20. But, your
Right. It's
body,
different. Then. Yeah.
yeah, your body adjusts and you're running up and down, you're doing whatever and you're burning it up. But
It's
as you get
true.
older, it doesn't work that way. And so,
It's true.
I was not mindful, um, of what I was doing. And like I said, it impacted negatively on a lot of things in my life. And, wasted a good amount of my last 15, 16 years running around gaining weight and not fulfilling probably everything that I could have done or achieved. And here we go. And that's kind of some of the things I did. I didn't care enough probably to take care of myself. And now I have a different outlook, and now I'm making the changes that I should have been doing before to care for my body a little bit better. So definitely what I eat, what I do is very important. And yes, you said something about sleep, trying to get the proper amount of sleep. I did it for years, 15, 16, 17, 18 years. I think I did overnights as well too. So sometimes
Yeah.
even going through college, I would do, I'd work the overnight, go to class in the day.
Yeah.
And even after graduating from Atlantic Union College, I still try to do two jobs or a job and a half. So I was working during the day, doing overnight, and then coming home and not getting the right sleep. And you got to get sleep. The body has to repair
True.
itself. So I
That's
wasn't
true.
getting and you burn calories too when you sleep. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you sleep
Yeah.
a good amount. So when your body doesn't do that, doesn't get the rest, it's not burning not burning the calories. It's not just working properly. So all those things I think added to
Right.
my health issues, so to speak.
So now, when your pulmonologist finally had that heart to heart with you, what made did you pull the trigger really quickly? Were you like, okay, that's it, this is it,
Um,
or
um,
did you
um,
sit on it?
oh yeah, I definitely sat on it because this has been so I had the surgery in August of 2022, right? This is 2023.
Yeah.
I would say he had been, and then like I said, the PCP had, she jumped in on it, and then the cardiologist jumped in on it after he suggested it because he started having like my all my doctors at UMass Medical in Worcester down there medical center, so they started talking with one another, which they should if it's a team. But it must have been, I swear to God, it must have been at least a good year and a half maybe before I pulled the trigger
Wow.
because what they call it,
Hmm.
pre-contemplation stage, and then what it
Yep.
is that you think that
Yeah.
you can do it when you're ready, and that's it. When you're ready, you think you can do it, and like I said, like, let me make sure you can see me. Having grown up in the faith, and we call what we call the health message, and we eat all these things that supposedly are healthy for us. You feel like you can turn off the switch on and off as you
Right.
please. And I sat on it, but like I said, just my health overall. Like when you're sitting there and you were like struggling for breath, you know what I'm saying? You can't lie down flat, you know what I'm saying? You can't do anything. Like everything is a struggle. It just dawns on you, like, you got to make a change because this isn't going to last for very long. And so
Right.
it's just like, eventually I was just like, you know what? Let me pull the trigger. Let me just do this. It's for my benefit. It's going to work out. The insurance is going to cover it. Boom, let's just do this. And so that's exactly what
Right.
happened. That's exactly.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
that's awesome. So how
But
was the procedure part? Was it? I mean, like in the recovery process, how was that?
so it was like I said, it was relatively quick. You go in there. They had me. I did the procedure at Memorial Hospital in Worcester, UMass Memorial Hospital in Worcester. They put me under. Next thing I know, I came out. Out of surgery,
Yeah.
little days, but it was like quicker than quick. I think they did about 45 minutes worth of surgery, maybe even of that. And I was a little weak. I was a little weak. So the stomach, whatever they did, put the sleeve on. And so the recovery part, I was out of work for about 6 weeks. And during that time, as you may or may not know, you can only eat certain foods in
Right.
small quantities because your stomach has to heal and stuff like
Yep.
that. So
Yep.
for the first whatever amount of weeks, I could only have, liquid. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I would have, like 2 ounces of whatever, and then 2 ounces of liquid, 2 ounces of food, 2 ounces, back and forth like that, and then they kind of worked me up into stage 4, stage 5, or
Solid.
whatever it is. Yes, where you could have like cottage cheese and stuff like that. So again, and it was making sure that you're intaking the right amount of calories. All right,
Right.
because they want you for the first year to only do 800 to 1,000 calories. I'm a little bit above that, and I've had a conversation with a nutritionist and stuff like that.
Right.
Because I'm, and I incorporate, exercise in that, and they want you to be strength trained and stuff like that. But the recovery process, it was about 6 weeks, and that one started going stir crazy because I was home, and man, I get hungry. You know what I'm saying? And you want something to eat, something solid, instead of drinking soup and water and broth and all this other stuff. You start wanting something solid.
Yeah.
You have to drink these nasty stuff, man. If I ever never drink one of them nasty shakes ever again, yo, them nasty. But hey,
Ah.
where I was when those first 6 weeks after surgery to where I am now, it's like a blur. So it was well worth it. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely in another space spot, and obviously you need to incorporate not just what you're eating, but you need to be making sure that you are exercising and getting in,
Yeah.
you know, um, what do you call it? Some motion, some movement. So currently, I mean, I don't know, you probably asked this question, but I just jumped into it. Currently, at the very minimum, I do at least 2 hours of walking every day, except for like on Saturday. On Saturday, maybe after Sabbath lunch, I might take like a leisure walk. But
Okay.
for the most part, at the very least, I do at least 2 hours of
Wow.
walking.
That's
Nice,
awesome.
brisk, like walking every day.
Yeah.
At least 2 hours. At the very least,
Now,
the
do you
very
do that on the treadmill or do you do it
No,
outside?
I go out. No, I go outside. Even if somebody's listening, like I said, I wait a lot at the time, and some people like this might be a struggle because I'm currently doing some walking with somebody who's struggling with their weight and stuff like that. So they're not at the level right now where I'm walking, and I just told them like it's a process. Like I started off like walking around in the living room, around the living room table, right? Because my breathing
That's
was
awesome.
so bad, right? Just around the living room table, right? Then I started walking in my driveway back and forth. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? Then I started walking in the driveway down to the end of the street and back, right?
Right.
Then I went,
Right.
and then I went in the driveway down to the end of the street, halfway around the corner. Then I was able to go all the way around the block, which is about 1.5 miles. And then then I just kept on doing that and building it up. And then so now I walk around the block. I walk down to the Atlantic Union College campus. I walk around on campus. I walk over to Kilbourne Hill. As you know, Kilbourne
Wow.
Hill is very steep. So I walk over Kilbourne and back over again around So, you know what I'm saying? I try to, vary it up, walk up Sterling Road, down George Hill Road, up Sterling Road, the steep part. You know what I'm saying? So I do,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
You doing it.
yeah, and then on like maybe Friday, because I don't do a whole bunch on Saturday. On Friday and then on Sunday, I try to do 3 to 4 hours of walking. You know what I'm saying? So I just get out there and just do it, and it's not like a leisurely place. I try to,
You're
try to
like
keep it
power
up,
walking.
trying or not. Try to keep
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
try to keep it above 4 miles an hour. I try to, you know what I'm saying?
So
So
now, do you when you said about 2 to 4 hours depending on the day.
yeah,
So you break that up? Do you do like an
no,
hour in the
no,
morning,
no,
hour, or
no.
do you
I
just
just
have like
no,
a block?
no. So usually I get up at like around 5 o'clock and get out there at 5:30, and then I just
That's
do that from
dope, dude.
yeah. I just get up at 5:30. Well, I get up a little bit before that, but I try to get to where I need to get to like around 5:30.
Mm-hmm.
And get out there and do it in the winter months. I signed up for Orchard Hills and Leominster, so I would walk
Yeah.
around the track. But the intensity is not the same as when I'm walking around the block because you need the hills. For me, I need the hills.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You got the
The
different
hills, right?
elevations. Yeah.
The elevation is really helpful. So I try to hit as many hills as possible. It was a struggle in the beginning, but it's much different now. So I just
Absolutely.
like what I'm saying, like get right up and down the hills, get right up and down the hills. So I try to get everything in the morning, and then
Yeah.
because of the nature of my job where I gotta do a lot of driving around and doing home visits and stuff like that, and then after hours I do a little DoorDash and stuff. So I pick up extra steps and stuff like that, but I try to get it in the beginning because there's no guarantee that I'm gonna get it throughout the day. And then
Absolutely.
and then depending on lunchtime, if I may stop and have something, depending every now and then I'll take a walk after I eat lunch, so
Mm.
I don't get too sleepy. Now, I be careful what I eat. You know what I'm saying? I try to eat a
Yeah.
certain amount of ounces of food, okay, as prescribed by the doctor and the nutritionist and stuff like that. So I don't eat as much as I used to,
Right.
um, and I try to be very careful of what I eat. So now I definitely read labels. I definitely watch my sugar intake.
Mm.
Um, protein. So I
Mm-hmm.
try to eat as much stuff that's high in protein, low in fat. You know what I'm saying? Try to watch, like I said, I try to watch the calories, try to watch the carbs, all that stuff. And obviously, it impacts on the body, and it's helped reduce a lot. The surgery helped, but I think the way I eat and exercise, it's helped, burn up a lot of the excess weight that I have. So currently, like I said, I'm down like 186 pounds, something like that, from my surgery weight.
That's
For my
dope.
surgery,
That's
my
dope.
surgery weight was like 446. My overall weight was like 442. Like my highest, I came down to 446 before the surgery because you have to come down, and then from there, I've come all the way down to about anywhere from like 255, 260, somewhere in there. So by my 1 year annual, where I meet with Dr. Charing, the surgeon, on August 11th,
Yeah.
hopefully I'm down another 15 pounds, so it makes it a nice even 200 pounds that I've lost since
That that'll
since
that'll be so dope.
right,
I
and
am
then I
so rooting for you.
yeah, and then I'm only about 20 pounds away from maybe 20, 30 pounds away from where I was when I was playing high school football as a running back, inside linebacker. There you go.
Dope.
There
That
you
is
go.
dope. That is
There you
dope.
go.
I mean, I appreciate your transparency first of all, and because that's amazing. You know what I mean? Just sharing everything in detail, and just the journey, and just being like, hey, you know what? I just got to do it. So now,
That's it.
when the doctor, I know, like before the surgery, sometime you did mention that they did ask you to lose a certain amount
Yes.
or whatever.
Yes.
So what did you do, or how did you get yourself ready to
So
for surgery?
again, right. So again, they give you information about okay. Basically, they start prepping you. And getting you ready. So, because what's going to happen is they want you to be able to transition to eating the certain foods that they're going to be prescribing for you. So, I started to try to do that more. Started laying off the fast food, right? Drinking more water. Drink water, drink water, drink water, drink water.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Leave soda alone. I mean, people like soda or whatever, but the sugar is what that people
Mm,
don't. Sugar is what packs on that crap. You know what I'm saying? And
it does.
you're thinking, oh, it's a little soda here and there, but dude, man, especially when you
It
start
adds
getting older,
up.
It adds up, man.
It adds.
When you
Yeah.
start reading labels, because I work with people who have mental health issues, and I always tell them healthy body, healthy mind.
Healthy mind.
And so a lot of
Yes.
these guys are ingesting a lot of
Junk.
some of the junk, but it's cheap. And that's the thing. We like that cheap stuff. You think it's filling, but it's filled up with a whole bunch of bad stuff. So at any
It's
rate, they try, they give you information and they start prepping you. Like, listen, this is what you should do. This is what you need to
yeah.
eat. And so I just made those changes. I wasn't so much exercising, but I was cutting back on what I was eating, um,
Nice.
reducing, reducing what I was eating and the portion sizes and when I would eat it. You know what I'm saying? Shouldn't be eating late at night and going to sleep. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because then your body doesn't have a chance to digest properly. So that was some of the stuff that I changed. And so I said my highest weight was like a 492, and I was able to get down to 446. So you're talking about almost 50 pounds, more than that, 40 something pounds. And so
Yeah.
I was able to show them, and that's the key. That's what they want to see, that I
Right.
was serious about
Right.
the transition. Because that's
Absolutely.
all you guys in the medical field, because you guys you hear it, and you tell people all the time, you need to try
Mm-hmm.
this, you need to do this, and people who come there and whoever's listening may hear it too, like yeah, the medical professionals to death, and there's no changes made, and then sometimes
Absolutely.
all those words that you're saying and how you're admonishing and encouraging, it goes on deaf ear and people don't make
Yeah.
changes, and then you're constantly you're constantly seeing these people, and then you have to keep prescribing this medication and that
Right.
medication and that, and that's the thing too. I didn't want to keep taking all this stupid medication. It's just enough. So like
Yep.
right now I just take like torsemide. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, my water weight can fluctuate my weight up and down. So I just take torsemide and warfarin because I had a blood clot some years ago due to the weight. And then the
Mm.
cardiologist wants just to see that my weight is maintained, and then they can take me off. So I just take like torsemide, and because I have the sarcoidosis, I take prednisone. But the prednisone is not impacting on me like they thought it would, because prednisone will make you hold weight.
Yep. Yes, it
But
does. It
but for
pushes your
me,
weight up.
right? But for me, it's having an opposite effect. So it's good.
Oh.
Like the doc, so like doctor, so my pulmonologist is like, dude, you're like a unicorn. I said, amen. Like amen. Amen. Yeah. So I do have. So the transparency and tell people, yeah, I do have sarcoidosis, autoimmune disease. Have it all over my lungs, right? And it's actually gotten progressively worse since before the surgery to the last time I saw him a few months ago. So I am on prednisone, and hopefully the prednisone regimen kind of knocks out. I don't have any symptoms. That's why he said too. I'm not wheezing and hissing and all this other stuff like I was doing before.
Mm.
So
Okay.
definitely the weight loss and the exercise is keeping the sarcoidosis at bay.
At bay. That's awesome. And so you were how many medications were you taking prior to your surgery?
I don't know, a lot. Either more than five, maybe six, seven, all this other I started having heart arrhythmia. All right,
Yep.
so
That's
I forgot what it's called, like we just call it arrhythmia, but I had to take metropolol, whatever you call it, to slow my heart down. All these things.
yep. You were having
None of those.
AFib.
AFib. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
AFib. I was having AFib like it was going out of style. Like
Yeah.
I'd be like doing nothing, and then what I'm saying, I have to do deep breathing.
Mm.
But now I have none of that stuff. No,
Wow.
nothing. They're not monitoring my heart, so like my cardiologist is like, they don't have to take it anymore. And like I said, the next time he sees me, maybe in October, November, he'll probably take me off the rest of this stuff too. So,
Yeah.
so
That's
yeah,
awesome.
so then I won't be taking any medication. I had an inhaler. I don't
I
even take
believe
the
it.
inhaler. Yeah, I don't have the Advair and the this and the that. None of that stuff. Just
So
take
now
some.
how's your mind been since
Oh,
then? Because I
good.
mean,
I'm
we talked
definitely
about the physical. How's the mind
Definitely,
and the emotional?
definitely less depression, probably. You know what I'm saying, or less. I have more positive outlook on life. I probably somebody just said to me recently, you seem more cheerful. Probably, probably, probably. Yeah, you're more cheerful.
Yeah.
Your outlook on life is a little bit different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
my wife is happier because I'm not as grumpy as I always used to be. You know what I'm saying? So so yes, definitely a different outlook in life, and just probably a little bit more upbeat and stuff like that. And yeah, yes. So
That's awesome.
definitely my mentals is definitely in a better place than they were maybe a year to 2 years ago. Yeah. Yes,
So
girl.
tell me, so what would you say to like I know there are people listening. There's male, females, and that's which is great. The audience is comprised of, but specifically as a man, especially as a black man, because we know that men in general tend to not like going to the doctor, right? But then when it
Exactly.
comes to black men specifically, then we have like there's another layer to that, and so like it's like really a struggle. And so like, what would you say to um, that gentleman who knows that he has some issues and he needs to start seeing the doctor or he needs to do something? What
Do
would you say to them? Like,
my
what from your experience,
my
what would be a word of wisdom?
my brother, do it. They say black don't crack, but black be cracking on the inside. We may look, no, seriously.
Yo, for
We may,
real.
we may look good on the outside, you know what I'm saying, but on
That
the
is so
inside,
true.
yo, your heart, especially black folk, the salt,
Yeah.
the high, we love some salt. We love some salt, the high, the yummy high fat food. That stuff's impacting on us. And if you want to live long on this earth,
Mm,
you will make some changes. That's all I have to say to you, brother. Your life is already from a socio, economical position. Your life is already going to be shortened. You got a lot of stuff going against you. And so
mm-hmm.
I would say don't let your health be the end all as well too. Don't let your health
Right.
bring you down too. So I would say to my brothers out there, especially, get yourself checked out, you know, physically, and also, just a plug for mental health too. It's
Yes.
like, listen, hey, it's okay. You can see a therapist to handle some of the
Yes.
so that you can talk about some of the trauma that you've experienced
That's
because
true.
we as black folk in general and black men have gone through some traumatic experiences and we
That's
don't
true.
talk about it. And when you don't talk about it and you're not dealing with it, it
It's
manifests
faster.
itself internally, and how you eat, how you
Mm-hmm.
take care of yourself, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And like I said, healthy body, healthy mind.
Healthy mind.
So my
Absolutely.
so my brothers out there, if you're listening to me and you're carrying a few pounds, you may not have to do what I did.
Right.
I was an extreme case, but make some changes. Make some changes. I think I gotta be careful what I say because I don't believe in natural selection and all that stuff. But maybe naturally, it seems like black folks in general have more muscular, physical, strong, whatever. So we don't have to go to the gym. We don't have to do this. That. No, yeah, you
Yeah.
do. No, yeah, you do.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. You
Right.
got to be careful what you're eating. You got to be careful what you eat, what you do. All right.
Yeah.
And like when I work with clients, who are struggling with their issues with addiction and stuff like that, or like for instance, they may have some issues with gambling. I don't say stop gambling. I mean, I don't do it, but
Right.
when I work with somebody else, I try to talk to them about harm reduction, reducing those things that are harmful to them.
Right.
So to my brothers out there, like I don't drink and smoke. You may. What I would suggest to you is probably trying to reduce some of that stuff. If not, if you're not going to eliminate it, reduce it. What you're eating, reduce some of that high salt, high sugar stuff. Incorporate more fruits and vegetables, please.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay? Yes, fruits and vegetables. It's okay. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? It's not a bad thing. We don't have to eat fried chicken or
All day,
fried
every
patty
day.
all day, every day. Throw some fresh vegetables in there. Throw some,
Absolutely.
get some greens in your life. You know what I'm saying? Not
Absolutely.
not greens with ham hocks and salted pork and all that. You know what I'm saying? Try to reduce that stuff. So I would say to my brothers, make some changes. You know what I'm saying? And again, when you make some changes physically, it's going to impact on your life. It's going to impact on your mental health aspect as well too. So, and everything in your time. You know what I'm saying? In your time. My time may not be your time. Okay, but at least make some changes and start going in that direction. Okay, that's
Right.
why I say try going in that direction. And then once you make some steps in that direction, it becomes easier and easier and easier and easier and easier.
Absolutely.
Right.
And you kind of touched on it a little bit. Like for example, after when you started walking, you said you first started walking just around
Well,
your coffee
living room.
table,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
after you just went down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it was like gradual. You build on that. So it
Yes.
wasn't like you didn't do a full on sprint
Right.
that first day, because then that would not work. And so
Right.
the importance of really understanding the importance of taking baby steps and small steps. Like sometimes we have that all or nothing attitude. Like if
Right.
it doesn't happen, like right now, forget it.
Right.
I'm done. I'm not gonna try it again, or I
Right.
failed. Or you know what I
Absolutely.
mean? But it's like,
Absolutely.
hey, no, little by little, you're gonna get there. But just take a step, one step at a time.
Right. Because I got to remember, I'm 40, 46, 47, going on 48. I am not 26, 27,
Right.
25.
Absolutely.
running up and down, running all around. So your body's a little bit different now, 20 years later or whatever, when you're in your quote unquote prime or whatever.
Yep.
So you gotta take, I believe you gotta take baby steps. Again, whoever's listening, they may be able to get out there and just do it. For me, that wasn't the situation I
Yep.
had.
Absolutely.
Now I could just, whatever. Oh, you want to walk 5 miles? You want to walk 10 miles?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I said one day I walked over 18 miles, almost close to 20 miles. Like, you know what I'm saying? On one
Wow.
Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Like when I first started out, I would never done that. And I don't think
Ab-
even in my best health way back when, I don't even think I walked 18 or 20 miles in a day. You know what I'm saying? So whatever. So everything in your time, but make a decision, make a positive
Yes.
decision, and move the ball forward. Okay, use a sports
Yes.
analogy. Move the ball forward. Don't, you know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? Just move the ball forward, inch by inch, and then I believe it becomes easier and easier. But don't give up. Don't give in. It's tough. It's going to be tough, especially especially if you let yourself go and you start packing on the weight. But hey, man, if you are inching up now in your weight, men or women, and you want to make a
Hmm.
change, hey, here's a chance. Do
You gotta
something
make it.
small.
You gotta do it.
Do something small, and then just
Absolutely.
and then work from it. Maybe it's cutting out one soda. You know what I'm saying, or
Right.
cutting out
Right.
those McDonald's French fries, which are yummy. I love McDonald's French fries. I haven't eaten them for a minute, but that's my thing. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? Maybe instead of eating it 3 times a week, you eat it twice.
That's right.
Start off like that, and then what I'm
Yep.
saying, you'll start seeing the difference. You'll start seeing the
There.
difference little by little,
Absolutely.
gradually. Yeah,
Absolutely. And something you had mentioned a little earlier too, you were saying, oh, you're a Christian and you grew up knowing the message and all
yeah,
that
yeah.
stuff. Like, even though we know these things, it's not going to mean anything if you're not actually applying it.
There you
Right?
go. There you
And
go. There you
so,
go.
I mean, that's knowledge in general, whether it's theory, whether it's religion based, Bible. If we can know all the things in the world, but if we're not applying any of the things that we're knowing into our lives, and it's just you just know them, that doesn't mean anything. And
Right.
so, for our Christian brothers out there who are like, oh yeah, whatever, but it's like, hey, there's still work that needs to be done. It's not
There's
going to
still work.
be
Right.
the miracle is in the process. It's in
There
the
you go.
doing. You
Right,
know
and
what I
then
mean?
the word that is often overlooked is we have knowledge, but do we have wisdom? Wisdom is putting it into effect, all
Practice,
that
yeah,
knowledge and all that
absolutely.
understanding. That's
Yep.
wisdom. So I have not been wise. And to continue to talk about spiritual aspect, not only was I wise, but I was a very poor steward of my body,
Your health,
right?
yeah.
My health,
Yeah.
and it impact on your marriage, all right?
Yep.
Believe it or not, it'll impact on your marriage. It'll impact on your spiritual life. It impacts on everything. You're not a good steward, and we are accountable to God for the bodies that He has given us.
That's true.
Okay,
That
so maybe I don't drink and smoke. Okay, whatever. But if you're
right.
overeating, if you're overeating and you're not eating the
Eating.
right things,
Right.
and you're
Yeah.
quote unquote retarding your body, and you're not putting forth effort, or
You're
or
still
you're
doing
not
harm.
utilizing the gifts and the talents that God has
Yeah.
blessed you with because you're lethargic or whatever, or
Right.
your health is impacted. You're not being a good steward. You're just not.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So again, you know what I'm saying. And one of the
Wow.
things, just a spiritual aspect, I did do a lot of prayer, and I asked the Lord to help me to go through this journey. Because I know that it would it would help me not to be only a better person, but to be more active in church and whatnot. And
Yeah.
so, I started to make that journey. I kind of heard the rumblings that they were going to try to make me one of the elders, one of the first elders, and stuff like that. I'm like, how are you going to do this work? How are you going to be a
Mm-hmm.
spiritual leader or whatever? And your health is all messed up, and you know better. You know what I'm saying? Because when you know better, you got to do
Yeah.
better. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep.
So
It's
you
true.
got to
It's a
make
mind,
decisions.
body, spirit thing. Yep. It's not
Mind,
everything's
body,
connected. Yep.
everything is. And then as we as SDA Seventh Day Adventists preach, I mean, I'm sure you have different people who are on here, but we do. It's all of those things. It's just not a spirit. It's mind, body, everything.
Yep.
And sometimes when you focus on one thing, you know what I'm saying, you become extreme on that one thing, and
Mm-hmm.
we have to be very careful of that. We often,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, we have to check off those things. Oh, I don't smoke. Oh, I don't drink. Or I don't eat
I
pork.
don't eat meat.
I don't eat meat. Oh, dude,
Right. Right. Right.
yeah,
It's just like
but that's not
okay.
that's not that's not that's not
Right.
salvation per se. That's not salvation per se. It's a total thing.
It
And
is
when
a
you
total.
and when you take all that stuff into account, and your
Uh-huh.
mind is clear and free from all that crap that you're putting in, the Holy Spirit can work better on your mind when it's not
Absolutely.
clouded, when it's not clouded and whatnot. And you, and from a Christian's perspective, for those who are Christian, when your mind is not cloudy, the Holy Spirit can work and He can direct you better to what it is that God is looking for you to do.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree. I mean, that's not to limit the ability of the Holy Spirit. He can work through
Yes,
all things, but
right,
like, why
right.
would we now just like cloud it up just cause? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, let's not.
Yes,
You know, right? Let's not, because sometimes he could be speaking, but then you're unable to hear, or you're not, because like, you know what I mean? So
you're,
it's a lot of things.
you're sleepy,
So
you're lethargic, you're eating stuff,
absolutely,
you know, you
absolutely,
don't want to
I
do
agree.
those. You don't want to do those extra ministry things because you're tired, you're too tired, don't have the
Listen,
energy, right? And those things,
it's
that's what I'm trying to tell you. It impacts. And so what happens is not only do you miss out on a blessing, but God is trying to help you bless somebody else, and you are not in the right frame of mind or health to be able to impart that blessing onto
awesome.
somebody else. So you're
Right.
cheating somebody else, and you know what I'm saying, and you're doing the service to somebody else, you're doing the service to yourself, and you're not being a good steward of the
Absolutely.
abilities and talents that God has given you. That's how I look
Yeah,
at it. You know,
absolutely. Because yep, you're right. You're right. Because the work is not only about us; it extends far beyond us. So you're absolutely right. Oh my gosh, this has been amazing, and I also am really happy to hear that you're also helping somebody along their journey too. You
yeah, yeah,
mentioned that earlier, and that's pretty
yes,
cool. That you're like, you know what, I've done it. Let me help someone, and I think that's awesome because although you may not be where you want to be ultimately, but
yeah,
you still are further along than that next person.
right, right, right,
And
right, and
so that is such a good lesson for any of us, for all of us, because sometimes we feel like things have to be perfect or we have to reach a certain place before we can start helping other people. But it's
right.
really just about being two steps in front of the next
That's it.
person and to
That's it.
guide them into making those next
That's
two
it.
steps.
That's it. They
You know what I
reached
mean?
out.
So I
Yep,
think that's dope.
yep. They reached out to me. It was actually one of our college professors at Atlantic College. You know,
That's
I won't name,
dope.
I won't name names, but
You don't have to. You don't have to.
yeah, I
It's
won't
always
name
good.
names. I let it, yeah. So but she reached out to me and said, "Hey, you want to go?" I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll do some walking." And some of her concerns is like she may not walk as fast as me, or she may not. I'm like, you so and so, you just do what you can.
Yeah.
As I say, iron sharpens iron.
Iron.
You
Yeah.
you poured into us when we were at Atlantic College. Now I'm pouring into you a little bit that
That's
I have, and then and just being encouraging, and it helps to keep each other honest and consistent and
yep.
accountable. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And so you do what you do, I'll do it with you, and then when you're finished doing what you do, then I'll do a little bit more intense of what I do. Saying
Absolutely.
I'll get my thing in, and so that we help one another. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
sometimes I don't want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning or whatever time. But I know
Listen.
if you're gonna be saying, "Hey, Llewellyn, Lou, let's go," and
Then you're gonna make the extra
right,
effort.
and then I start getting flashbacks to when we were at Atlantic Union College, and you're like, "Yo, where are you? How come you're not in class?" And you're getting the phone calls and stuff on your answer machine, like, "Let's go, we're waiting on you." You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You bring you behind the class. I don't want no flashbacks to that. So
Oh snap.
right,
Yeah,
right. So you
it's
already know.
true.
Right, you already know. I mean, we went. The school was small enough where they could do that. So, like I said,
Hmm.
this individual and her mother poured into us, and so I would like to pour into her and help her on her journey, like other people have tried to help me on my journey. And so,
That's
if I'm an inspiration, that's good. I don't set out to do that, but hey, every little bit helps, and then so
absolutely.
we do what we can.
That's awesome, Lou. Thank you so much for your
What?
time. Thank you,
Okay.
thank you, thank you.
No worries.
Yeah, if that was amazing. And even after I stopped the recording, just
Yeah, yeah,
hang on for a few minutes
no
afterwards.
problem. No
But
problem.
thank you again. So everyone listening, I hope you gained like so much from our conversation today. I personally got a lot of like takeaways. Taking small steps. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but taking small steps, helping somebody along the way. And also, it's in the doing. We
Yeah,
can know all the things, but if we're not doing anything, it doesn't really matter. So we have to take action. Action is what propels us to get to the change that we want, whether it's health, it's relationship, it's parenting, it's like career wise, anything. It requires some level of decision and
yeah,
action. And
yeah.
so I hope that Lou's story today really inspired you to take action towards whatever it is Maybe it is health. Maybe something else. I pray that his story inspires you to take that action towards that next thing that you know in your heart that you need to do, to better yourself, to better your family, to better the world, and to better your community. So thanks again for tuning in. You can hear this podcast. You can follow me on Instagram at Coach Beljo and pretty much all social media platforms. And leave a comment, leave a review. Let us know what you think. Let us know your takeaways. And tune in next week for another episode. Thank you all, and goodbye.
Thank you.